Puerto Rico's hands-off approach to capital gains, income, and business taxes is attracting crypto's nouveau riche to their shores. The IRS delivering a report to Congress saying upwards of 4,000 U.S. residents and companies have moved to the island between 2012 and 2019, losing out on potentially hundreds of millions of dollars in tax revenue. Joining us now is Giovanni Mendez and Keiko Yoshino of the Puerto Rico Blockchain Trade Association. Hello there, Keiko and Giovanni. So, any data on how many people are moving to Puerto Rico for tax purposes? And of those, how many of them do you believe are moving because they made a lot of money recently in cryptocurrencies?
Yep. I would say in the last 8 years, we've had about 4,000 people that have moved to Puerto Rico in general. We've seen the 2 years that we've seen spikes were around 2018, where we crossed 1,000 people that moved here that year only, and this year is going to be record-breaking as well. Coincidentally, it's the years when we've seen peaks or part of the peaks for the price of blockchain and or crypto tokens in general.
So, for some of our viewers who are less familiar with this wider narrative, aside from these tax issues, can you just tell us a little bit about why Puerto Rico has become an important destination for the blockchain community? Like, what does it offer specifically that's attracting people?
So the tax incentives are generally the main driver. You pay no capital gains on assets that you sell after moving to Puerto Rico and the gains that accrue after moving to Puerto Rico. So that applies to investment assets in general, not just cryptocurrency, but definitely does apply to blockchain cryptocurrency. So people that move here, establish their residency here, and comply with certain tests are able to exclude income from their federal income tax, and Puerto Rico awards them this additional benefit of, again, paying no capital gains on those gains accrued here in Puerto Rico. After a lot of people moved here, then Puerto Rico has just become a hub in itself for the community, blockchain and crypto community, with so many people down here and people creating new things. So, it started with one thing, which was the tax incentive, but definitely it's grown into much more than that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, go. And
I think that there's also a growing community for entrepreneurial and tech as well, and I think that's also become another draw.
So, how is this recent infrastructure bill that's working its way through Congress? Maybe it'll pass, maybe it won't. But there are crypto provisions in there. They're famously being right now. It's a big worry for the crypto industry in general. How will that affect Puerto Rico? What activity are you seeing in terms of businesses on the island now, and businesses that are looking to come to the island?
So, how it will affect Puerto Rico? Well, we need to, what is finally passed, if something is passed. But we do have to understand that we are primarily under federal jurisdiction from a legal perspective. So the federal income tax code applies to Puerto Rico as it is approved to apply. So generally, from a reporting perspective, most reporting applies still within the Puerto Rico jurisdiction. There are exclusions for Puerto Rico residents and Puerto Rico sourced income, where certain reporting is not required. But generally, from a reporting perspective, it will apply. However, from the source of income, that's not set to change. So if you are a Puerto Rico resident, if you comply with the set of rules that make you a Puerto Rico resident, then most of these capital gains will be sourced to Puerto Rico, and the Puerto Rico rules will apply. Mm-hmm. In regards to the types of businesses moving here, again, we see a lot inside and outside the blockchain space, but definitely there is a huge tech hub and service hub that is here in Puerto Rico, obviously because the jobs of the future, all of them are remote. We just saw announcements of a big firm like PwC who basically told all their employees they never have to return to the office if they don't wish. That is very natural in this tech and blockchain community and digital nomad community, which tends to mix itself up. So now, sitting from Puerto Rico, if you're lucky enough under a palm tree and with your computer taking some shade, then you could generate income from here. If not, our offices are pretty nice as well.
I just want to jump in there. There is a bit of controversy regarding, is this a form of colonialism? And that has been suggested because you're having a group of people who are moving into Puerto Rico, transporting their ideas and culture and potentially exploiting local people and resources, this kind of concept, because they're being confined mainly to themselves, glitzy mansion parties, while other parts of Puerto Rico, people are finding it difficult to even get a roof over their head because of the hurricanes that have gone through. I want to address that.
Yep. I'd argue that maybe that's what is evident sometimes, but that's not true. The crypto community blends with the local community very well. There's any activities that happen that are just open and welcoming. I've seen it, whether it's employing the community or teaching the local community. There's not so much light in that. And that's where Keiko and I got to start working together, because she recently came to the island and she'll tell her story, but she saw that firsthand where there was integration and maybe the word isn't getting that much out. So that's where she came out with the idea of the Blockchain Trade Association and proposed it to me, and I was very welcoming of that. So, Keiko, this one's for you.
Thanks. Absolutely. I think that there's a really great blend going on here. We just are expanding that footprint today. For instance, we're launching CryptoCurious, which is our a program and educational free workshop for local Puerto Ricans. We're teaching English and Spanish. We have DLTX Chairman James Haft teaching today and every Monday in the month of October. We have 60 people already RSVP'd. We're very excited about the enthusiasm and welcoming of wanting to learn about blockchain and crypto. And these are just small ways in which we are trying to be more inclusive, because we are sensitive to the narrative that is portrayed, and working hard to be more inclusive and accessible.